Hi everyone. Have you been wondering how to find union within yourself? Well, stay tuned because I'm going to share with you my own story of how I found harmony from the inside out. Let's go! Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly Glow Show. Today I want to talk to you about harmony inside out. And what that really means is that if we want unity, that unity starts with us. And it's coming into balance within our divine masculine and divine feminine internally, that then we bring forth that and attract that into our external reality once we've become whole, complete, and loving within our own soul, our own being. But not just that we know that as a concept, or we know those words, or we hear that all the time, but you have to embody that. You have to embody that feeling of being complete. And it does take a lot of parts to that, because you do have to come into this completion or this feeling of being aligned with yourself, which means that you have to know what your own truth is. So you have to come into some form of a balance between this programming that you've had in your subconscious memory, as well as your higher conscious wisdom has to be unlocked to pull into your conscious mind. But in that, you have your own conscious thoughts and feelings and emotions and stories that have to come into balance in order for you to restore the idea and the concept that you can, one, release the past, but release it from a place of love and compassion, and to realize that every story matters. I went to a concert of my friends last night, and it was beautiful, and I don't know, that just came through as those words, because it does. Every story matters that we have, and that even though we are releasing the past, we have to find the beauty in the lesson, the beauty in the gifts through all of the experiences we've had with everyone, down to our twin flame, our family, other people, co-workers, and at the end of the day, ourself is a piece about what I'm saying here, so that you can, inside of you, become what I've been shown as fragile. And that means you are strong and fragile at the same time. You experience love and you experience pain at the same time. And that means to get in that space of all of you, on both sides of you, the way you arrive there is through a fractured heart, but really that comes from a shattered heart, meaning that we have to go through all this pain, all these things that we went through, to even down to the death of our own self. That's very painful to shed that skin. It's very painful to go through these abandonment issues. It's very painful to face ourselves in the mirror and take accountability, take action, take charge for our own part in every scenario that we have contracted to participate in. And so, as we start to now bring all of this stuff full circle and finding the stabilization and this balance that we're talking about the whole world and earth is coming into, we're needing to find that harmonic balance inside of us that will then ripple out from the inside harmony to the outside harmony, and bring into to balance just the battle between your head and your heart. Who's making the decision, who's going forward, and being able to share and communicate through your heart from a heart to heart without feeling you're going to have to face some kind of a conflict by standing in your truth to speak up to others, which is what I'm seeing a lot of people have to do right now. That in this balance of ourselves, we're coming into the balance of these pieces that are coming into the restoration of our inner divine feminine and our inner divine masculine. And we're being put to the test to be able to, I'm going to give you an example from the feminine side. I'm going to start there. We're going to bring it full circle through the role reversals and how this links from an internal to an external, even with your other half, down to coming into reunion with your other half, is that you're being put through all of these tests to be able to strengthen your own inner divine masculine. So we're going through all of these pieces that's creating our inner feminine being wounded, not being supported, not being protected, not being loved. But we have to use our inner divine masculine to stand up, stand in truth, speak up, create empowerment to support our inner divine feminine, so that our inner divine feminine feels supported, feels loved, feels whole and complete and nurtured, right? And so what happens is, if when it comes to us talking about finding the union within, this is what we're talking about. Because, and I felt guided to share with you in this terms, because I've even had some of the stuff come full circle for me, and I've seen a lot of people doing this. And we talk about it in words, but it's not, I feel like, at least I haven't exactly explained to you a deeper layer and level of what that is, so that you can embody that. Because at the end of the day, that's what that is doing, is we're embodying this stuff to where this stuff, we're feeling it now, and that's where we're feeling all sides of this, to be able to bring it into form, because we're on this piece of the harmony inside out, that the inside has to create this wholeness, alignment, restoration, and completeness and full circledness before our external reality is going to catch up. So if you're in a place that you're not feeling loved, you're not feeling supported, you're still feeling abandoned, it says that your inner masculine is not supporting your inner feminine, to love your inner feminine, to support your inner feminine, to speak up for your inner feminine, and to respect your inner feminine. And so I'm going to give you an example of this. For instance, I'm going to share with you a little bit of a story of how this is kind of coming full circle for me right now in this last week or two. And I'll use that story in a minute to bring this full circle. But basically, I guess the place to start with that would be is, it's coming upon 2 years ago that my story and challenge with Champ started, where he was taken from me, from the ex-life partner that we had amicably shared him. And in that, I thought things had been healed, so to speak, between us. But there was another layer of another contract that was being broken, that said that we no longer were going to be sharing him, because we needed that form of a freedom that I could move forward with my life, to potentially move, to be able to not be anchored here and not being free to do everything I wanted, because I was still being pulled into this space, because I would have never taken the Champ from him, because I wouldn't have wanted it done to me. And that's how we do in this twin flame journey from an unconditional standpoint. But to realize those other people contract with us, and when they contract with us, there's also an experience there to gain out of it, and we can't carry that load for them. We have to own our part in it, do our part in it, and then let go of what we've carried for those people in fear that they're going to get hurt, they're going to go through their own pain, or that we're doing something to them, so we're carrying that for them, even into our 3D reality and our actions coming in from our love standpoint. And in that process of that court battle that I went through was 8 months of grueling lessons that was not only pulling up and purging some past life stuff, it was creating me to rewrite that and create justice for that in a basically a legal system. But in addition to that, on a personal level, I had to step up, stand up, speak up, and take back my power. And not just for that circumstance and everything I dealt with within him, everything I dealt with my whole life came forth to be empowered and take back my power, to visiting scenarios of running into people, of everyone that I gave them my power away, to be able to have to rewrite it, to know I was taking back my power, and taking back my power from being able to stand up for myself and say, no, this is not right. There's justice to this. And down to being abandoned by an attorney And by being abandoned by that attorney, I had to get a new attorney and move out of fear of how am I going to pay for that. But then also to potentially, I was told by other attorneys that because this particular attorney screwed up, that I was to sue that attorney. And I had to come to some terms inside that if it cost me my dog, that yes, I might have to. But 90% of the time when we let go of the intention of that being a fear, we actually then negate having to follow through with that. And which is what happened in my case. And so the judge ended up overruling based on something that had happened that my attorney didn't follow through with, that became basically was the end of the case. And I had to go back and file to try to get the case opened again, or at least not to close it. And in that, then that was my inner feminine, is what I'm sorry, my inner masculine that was saying, no, you don't have to do this anymore alone. You don't have to take this on by yourself. You can let no limitations block you from getting a bulldog of an attorney that can support you and show you what it's like to be an empowered woman, and getting a woman, and I'm not biased here at all, but this woman that I got showed me what it was like to be an empowered woman. And the massive amount of money I paid was not just for the trial to get my dog back. It was teaching me how to be an empowered woman, but how my inner masculine would support my inner feminine and to give me the strength that I needed to come out and prevail. And so this is kind of what I'm saying to you. So in that reflection alone, coming into that balance of that was restoration of my inner masculine and inner feminine, that then went on an entire year basically of my inner masculine having to support my inner feminine through test after test after test to be able to stand up, to be able to know I was protected, healed, supported, and then that healed my inner feminine to allow my inner feminine to open up to receiving more finally, to not have those wounds anymore from the feminine side and not feel that lack of protection internally. And then that opened me up to receiving more, that then brought in more receptivity of massive amounts of things coming in. But how that also then, from an inside out standpoint, and connects to your reunion, when you can heal your inner divine masculine and create the union of yourself externally in this twin flame world, that also then allows your masculine, they mirror you, it allows them to also become a like a warrior. Okay, they've been a wounded warrior, but that allows them to step into their warriorship, to become the divine masculine, strong and be able to then heal their inner divine feminine, so that they can now heal their wounded feminine, because it's the wounded feminine and the masculine that has blocked them from being whole and restored, where we've had the wounded masculine. Now here's the thing, I've had clients tell me this multiple times. I want to clarify something. They're like, oh, I have no problem being a masculine. I'm a masculine, right? And I can do, and I get, so my masculine is not wounded, but it is wounded because it's acting out of ego, and it's doing all the things in a way that's the driving thing. It's the unhealthy masculine that's taking control and won't let go of control and won't allow. And so therefore your masculine that needs to be the supporter, the one that will step up and speak up and be all this protection and respect inside for you and your needs that you're not even doing for yourself, those parts of your wounded masculine aren't in check, and those are the parts you need to get in check and let go of the ego that has to be in control of thinking that you can do everything. And of course there's a healthy ego too, but this is not what I'm saying here. So as we come into this full circle now, I mentioned this a couple of years ago, kind of happening for me and coming full circle, I just want to share with you a little bit of a story in that. So at the time this was happening a couple years ago, and right after Champ was taken, I started, if you followed me, I was talking about how it shattered my heart. It hurt so deep and so bad. And I can't even tell you the pain. And for me, with my twin flame dynamic, having been more of a brother-sister experience, was very deep. Still is. this whole thing with Champ hit me in a whole different spot that I needed. And it was connected to also my ex-life partner, created from the love standpoint, like this fractured heart. And in our healing of that, you know, when he had taken Champ, I realized through the process, of course, that he was acting out of the higher self, honoring a contract that said, you know, basically through the court battle now, he will never see him again. And I look at Champ every day in gratitude and grace and divine love. And I experience pain and pleasure at the same time. Because out of my pleasure, he's had pain. And his pain in that took me into the depths of pain of that. And in that pain, for even like seeing that and seeing the gift in his loss, for my ability to have him going forward, I would have never done this to him, but on a contracted level, we had to let go of those contracts. So many people are releasing these contracts. And I've been talking about how, you know, glass shattering and all these different things of breaking, if you've heard me, that it's representation of that. Well, in that process, he came a couple years ago to spray for spiders. That's a whole nother story. And in that left some, in this particular window up here, left some spots. And as I was healing all of that and went through, and I was actually doing a recording talking about how all this glass represented contracts that we're completing with these people. And why I'm telling you this is because I want you to know that what you're going through right now is healing contracts with people, family, your twin, relationships. And that's why they're so painful. Okay, that's why they're so painful, and they're creating these shattered hearts and these fractures in you, because the fractures are representing the soul contracts breaking, and you will never spend another lifetime with these soulmates. And they're giving up on some end, they're giving something up for you to gain this gift out of it. And for you to see the beauty in that pain is the point. And out of that, basically, he pulled the shades up, and one got tangled around this Buddha. Well, there's a necklace there that my twin flame gave me for my birthday. There's a butterfly wing, a real butterfly wing there, that got tangled into that. And in that process, it connected in such a way that it was so mingled up. I'm like, how the heck did this even happen? And I started realizing I was untangling another web with my ex, but it also was linking to my twin flame journey and reality here. These are how these signs will work if we're open to watching. And so out of that, then I had this clearing and purge going on about several months later, that this is cleaning up, this is getting done. And then after that had all happened, and I was telling you guys, I'm going to back up a minute before I finish the purge part, that I was telling you guys how on a video, how all this glass was shattering around me, representing ending the contracts of all these people, of multiple things in other areas of all this glass shattering, and how it all linked to my twin flame journey. I even got cut, and this was all within 24 hours. Well, I then was recording this, and as I'm recording, I hear this huge pop, loud pop. Well, that weekend, I'd been doing the purge and clearing and releasing these things that felt like letting go of untangling that web and letting go of more physical things in my reality that were subconscious memories that needed to be released. And I had been looking at this spots on the window that weekend and being like, going, like, that's another mess he left. I got to get up there and clean that window. But at the same token, I couldn't reach it. And so I kept looking at that window all weekend going, his trail again, you know? And so I'm recording this about all this breaking, and I hear this pop. Well, the Monday after that weekend, I walked in after I recorded, and I looked up, and that window was shattered. Or it wasn't shattered. It was fractured. It was all the way up. It's taken me 2 years, well, a year and a half, to get that window replaced. This window just replaced a week ago Friday. And it was my entire journey being put me through so many pieces in a physical realm to the point that I was like, what the heck's going on? Because I felt like the contracts were over with the ex, and I didn't understand why this window had not solved itself. And the window taught me to stand up and speak a layer of truth if this needs to get done, you know, taking charge of, empowerment of why this is being dragged out so long and speaking my truth about it. But on the flip side of my feminine side of knowing that I'd done my job and now I could be with ease and grace, even though it was taking longer and I was practicing patience to let it go. And this was kind of to the final part. There was other pieces in between. There was weather and different people and people abandoning it in the middle. And I'm not kidding when I tell you it was a whole twin flame journey again. And in that, though, out of that, basically, I started having all of this inner healing inside of me that I'm talking to you about, my strong divine masculine, creating and supporting my feminine, and allowing my feminine to be open to receive, to also do her job in there. And out of that, I started seeing the connection back to my twin flame journey and relating it with the connection of my twin flame and my twin flame of where I've been seeing where he is, and realizing that the window didn't no longer relate to the fracture and the contract sending. It related to the healing and the restoration internally with my twin. Remember, the necklace was connected to it. And internally healing with my twin. And knowing that somewhere in that, it was following a pattern of me coming into an inner, letting go of an inner battle that represented the connection and the reunion of me and my twin. And in that process, I was seeing that very clearly and realized that I needed to do some added healing to that space. That I went through different processes of things that felt a little uncomfortable, but that I opened up now because my inner feminine felt protected to allow myself to basically present myself to my twin in a way that didn't matter any outcomes or different parts of me anymore, because I could be me and I could speak from my heart to heart, and I no longer had to create certain limitations and certain parts within that. And out of that came freedom, came the most liberation I ever felt in my life, came to my twin actually supporting me as well in a physical 3D standpoint, standing in his divine power and also speaking his own truth, and also healing the side of him that was wounded in a place that he couldn't come out and from his feminine side show and express certain things about who he was. So it came full circle to even the retreat that I am having in August 24th and 25th. The link's below, check it out. That I actually am having that in the space that him and I were to create, that I talked about in my book. And this has all happened in the last couple weeks. And I also then had realized that once this window got replaced, that basically I had bought in Glastonbury when I was there back in the November, December time. And when I was there, I bought the stained glass transfer to put on the window. And I want to share with you what it says, because I had never read what it meant. It stood out to me. I bought it to put there. I didn't exactly know why, and I didn't read it. But the day the window got placed and changed, I got the transfer, and I want to show you what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? And I'll show you what it looks like on the window. How beautiful is that? And now I want to share with you the message that means and what that symbol means. It says, the overlapping of two equal circles creates the Vesica Pisces, which means that the vessel of fish. It is a figure of a profound symbolism of representing the union of heaven and earth, spirit and matter, conscious and unconscious, masculine and feminine. The Vesica Pisces is associated with the Christ and the symbol of the fish of Christianity. Imagine this Vesica as the gateway to the source. And then in contemplation, we go up into our journey from the world of matter into the world of spirit. Ascension, the world of matter to the world of spirit. We return, bringing the spirit into our material world. And this design is based on the wrought iron cover of the well and the chalice well within the gardens of the Glastonbury tour. And I have a whole book on the tour, or I should say Glastonbury, because the whole book represents the restoration of Avalon, which is heaven on earth, which is my champ Avalon of heaven on earth, and my connection with him that brings us full circle. And I can't tell you how much I've been in such this place of fragilis, how I'm strong and I'm fragile, and how I've even talked about and related to, as I mentioned, this fracture and this shatter, then the compassion of my ex created this really more love than I've ever known in my entire life, of compassion of the highest version, that my heart aches. And in that ache, I can feel the liquid love of God filling me up every day. And there is no fracture, so to speak, because that fracture is healed with the liquid love. And within the liquid love, it creates what I've been shown as the golden heart. The heart of gold, and the heart that can love and create, and that can have pain and sorrow, and that can have compassion and experience all that is within everything, and create the unity of not just within ourselves, but the unity and the coexistence of everything externally, and loving all, the good and the bad. That is the liquid love of God that we become, because we are God in that form and in that connection. And I've been seeing it as the teacups of in the Asian culture. If you break a teacup that's very fragile, it's glued back together with gold, but it becomes more valuable once it's restored back into its wholeness with the gold. And that's what we as twin flames are doing here, and that's what this whole journey is about. And as I went to get ready last night for the Every Story Matters to my friend that has this beautiful voice that activates me and everyone from her energy healing, that she creates this magical music that her whole journey is about. I am enough is her message, but that every story matters along the way to become that. And her album goes from a place of the dark night of the soul to the ascension, and comes through at the center of the rebirth, which is basically my book. And we've somehow paralleled this over 3 years until we came into physical connection. And I'm in the bathtub just feeling my whole connection and her love of that, feeling my whole connection to the twin flame journey, feeling my connection to all that is, and feeling so much pain and pleasure at the same time. I start to cry out of one eye. And I had this epiphany as Mother Mary came in with me in this bath and held my inner child and held all parts of me. I began to understand something I never understood before, and I don't even know if this is out there because I've never heard this before. But no wonder Mother Mary represents one tear in one eye, or crying in one eye, because she knows how to love to the greatest depths of love through the walks of Christ, and the sorrow and the pain of what it went through to give up her son, which is what we are doing in this ascension process of going through the evolution and the rebirth of our own self, and the death and the letting go and the shedding our skin of the pain of letting go of our old ways and our old self, as we're creating this wholeness and oneness, and we're being put back together with liquid love of God and gold to restore the wholeness, the completeness, and the harmony within, so that we come out of this fragile to be both strong and fragile, and being able to love to your greatest capacity that came out of those painful ashes that you shed going up this ladder of ascension. Thank you. I just want to thank everyone for being a part of my journey, for being a part of the love and the community that shows up for me every week, for following my journey, for confirming my revelations, for the love that you send me and my beloved champ. And thank everyone for your donations to his mission of his Global Pause for Peace, which has had all the donations going forward for my videos. I just send all of you this liquid love And I'm asking now, I just feel this download of love, this golden shower coming through and over your head, filling up your higher consciousness to activate and unfold and unlock your blueprint. As it comes on through and activate your voice to be able to speak your words of wisdom with truth, filling up your heart space, sealing and healing the fractures and the shatters, and expanding this love within. So it can become a ripple effect from your heart radiating out to everyone that you come into contact with, that you come into touch with, and that love be multiplied, and that cup overfill with abundance because you can now receive. This is the restoration of your harmony, your oneness, your unity within. And my prayer for all of you is that you can find this same peace, love, joy, happiness, compassion that I have come full circle to experience. Thank you. Please be sure to like, comment, share the shine, subscribe, hit the notification button. Please make a comment to how this maybe has touched you in some way. I send you loads of love, loads of liquid love to fill your heart so that you can go forward in eternity to experience unity and harmony from the inside out. Namaste.